Girl, I know you got a long neck, baby.
Graphically.
But I still wanna be with you.
Graphically.
They said it couldn't be true when I have to visit you at a zoo in Timbuktu. Where you been all my life? Gotta find you. But with that, let's get into episode 69 of Ancient Wisdom. We're finishing up chapter 9. I know it's been a while, but this is part 2 of chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita. You may remember last time I told a little tale of Aesop. It was the wind versus the sun. The wind blew and blew. The man would not take his jacket off. In fact, he held tighter to it. The sun gently shone down, and the man willingly, gently took off the jacket. Man, it's hot. Ooh. Took it off of his own accord, and that's sort of the theme of this show today. That's sort of the theme of chapter 9. That's sort of the theme of the Tao in general, I'd say, which is the gentle way is the way that wins. The one that's not constantly fighting or forcing.
The least resistance.
So let's start it up. Chapter 9, we're halfway through. We're going to review a little bit. We start with verse 12, and Sri Bhagavan is talking to Arjuna. These fools come under the spell of material energy, embracing demonic and atheistic beliefs. Their hopes of liberation are a waste.
Dang.
Man!
Tore it up.
Right off the bat, tore you a new one.
You know, I think he just wanted you to know right away that if you want the world, you will be a demon.
Whoa,
Like,
deep.
he's just telling you straight up.
Scarface, the world is yours. Yeah, you have to be a demon to want the world. I like that a lot. Because otherwise what, right?
You're an angel.
Otherwise, you're an angel, baby. And isn't it funny that we're talking about this? Maybe there are too many entities right now that want the world. There's too many Scarfaces in the world right now who
Can't
want
have
the
that
world.
many.
So the angels are coming. You can't have that many without angelic intervention. There's always these opposite forces opposing each other, the balance in the universe. And I really believe humanity has become too demonic. All this social media crap. Everyone wants to be an influencer. Everyone wants to be rich. Like, it's so weird talking to my own parents or just like people, this boomeristic mentality where you got to have a job, you got to have money, you got to contribute to all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, you got to contribute to society as a whole and feel like you're doing something. But our values are askew.
Society's hijacked.
Absolutely. We are not in sync with ancient wisdom.
What a time to get this passage, too, on this day, amidst all
Man!
the alien...
This is what I'm talking
Stuff
about. You
going
don't
on.
know anything. Like, how is it that... You know, I'll let the universe speak for itself. I'll let the Bible speak. 2 Corinthians 4:4. Satan, who is the god of this world, has blinded the minds of those who don't believe. Wow.
It's very, very clear.
No. It's very clear, is it not? Expand on that, Poge. Because I've recently learned in my own life, I've denied it for so long. Oh, but God, he's here. He's in everything, right? No. Satan is the prince of this world. And I think that's why people are so drawn to spirituality, especially Christianity right now in general.
Because Satanism is the belief in yourself. I think is the definition most people miss.
Yeah.
Not the belief in Satan. It's the belief
Right.
that you can do it better than God.
Yeah.
I think.
Wow. It really makes me think of that we've discussed on previous episodes, one of those Terence McKenna talks where he thinks that the universe is pulling us towards something, which is maybe God and peace and
Novelty.
death. But like, instead of being
Pulling us
pushed
towards
from something,
That's what he says, yeah.
we want to stay, but we're being pushed like towards peace and towards life. But we want to stay on Earth where the hell is.
Yeah,
kind of
isn't
thing.
that funny?
But
Yeah,
God
very
might
true.
be at the end of the line as opposed to, what we're trying to stay here and cling to.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Sometimes we feel like we are just being, and then maybe the past is pushing us forward. But maybe it is the opposite, as Terrence says, if I'm hearing that right, that something in the future, in fact, is pulling us. We call it Tao, we call it the way. Maybe it's a little bit of both.
Maybe something from the side is squeezing.
Yeah, there it is. Maybe it's a squeeze for us. Hasamu! Ho! So I think that's very deep. I think I finally, within myself, within my own life, realized, even within the last couple weeks and months, admitted to myself that Satan is the god of this world. 2 Corinthians 4:4 is correct. Is that your thoughts, your being, your wants, your desires, people, how they think of you, how they treat you, it is all Satan. And the only way to, fight this is to recognize it, frankly, is to see it fully. Maybe that's what the angels are trying to teach us with all their eyes, with the moment, the third eye, present, seeing.
And maybe Aesop's tale kind of relates to it also. You don't want to act like the wind when it comes to defeating Satan. You want to just go
Hot
little by
take.
little at the cracks in the armor,
Man.
which is gently, because Satan works most when you're at his level and combative kind of thing. Combative.
You got British on me. Yeah, dude, I learned from my ancient psychedelic experiences that another strange truth about life and hell is that sometimes hell is brought on by the very fact that you're trying to escape hell.
Man.
Does that not feel real? Have you guys felt this in the past? The very fact that you're like, no hell, stay away, hell.
It's like the
That
Chinese.
is hell.
It's like the Chinese finger trap.
Dang.
The harder you pull, the more stuck you are, man. But if you just relax, slips right off.
Wow, is that how it works?
Yeah, I think so.
Bring it.
If you pull too
together.
hard,
If you bring it together, it goes up. Yeah. Kind of true. Could be true.
or quicksand.
Yeah.
Same thing. You don't want to struggle.
Wow.
You want to struggle.
Yeah, super deep. And look at that. If poetry is the only way people realize things, would not God be the greatest poet of all? It's everywhere. Chinese finger traps. I'll use quicksand. It's a little more natural, but yeah. But yeah, exactly. The more you try to struggle, whereas I found myself when I accepted my hell and went into my hell and finally gazed upon the dragon. The dragon's like, oh, hey, bro, what's going on? And I'm like, what? I thought you were supposed to be scary. It's like, I don't know. That was all you. I'm not scary. That's weird, right? We have this idea of things, and we could get, what's the word for non-religious with it?
Secular.
So we could get secular with it and just say that our mind is what created it in the first place. Anything. Point something in this room. There's cup on the table. If you hate that cup because you have these connections to it in your mind, the cup fell on my toe. The cup caused my divorce. Then you won't like the cup.
Everybody can always justify their wrongs.
Everybody could always justify their wrongs. I like that a lot. Me and Paul were talking the other day about how this is exactly why people see things from their own perspective. It's just something you have to realize about life, and you'll be much more wise. I was telling Paul the other day, I read in the Bible, blessed are the poor in spirit. And I'm like, yeah, Jesus, that's the point about that. Jesus has a point. Yeah, blessed are the poor. God damn it.
I like this.
I like this guy. He's got some good ideas. Meanwhile, I have no money, so I I vibe with that.
Yeah.
You know, goddamn, he's right. Bless other poor. Whereas everyone sees it from their own perspective. Like, another great example to tie into current events is this CEO United Healthcare killing. Damn. So this has been in the news for ancient futuristic viewers right now. Some guy named Luigi, Mario's brother, shot down the United Healthcare CEO in broad daylight in New York City.
Yoo-hoo!
And he said that sound, the records say. And there's been a funny backlash. Probably the most interesting part of it all is that everybody is loving it.
It's the crazy part nobody cares about.
Nobody cares. In fact, they love it. In fact, they're putting up wanted posters of other healthcare CEOs all over New York, wanting to kill more of them.
I know major city town clerks that got hit and run and fatally killed, and they can't find the driver.
Crowdsourced assassinations.
Wow, deep, hot term. And like Poge was saying earlier too.
Can I say that on YouTube?
Yeah, well, maybe.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Me and Poge were talking earlier.
Allegedly.
That
covers us.
Our lawyer has us covered. That this is just what happened. No matter how you feel about it, it's just what happens. This is the bottom line. This is the French Revolution again. Bad things happen in a bad world. Like, what are you going to do? You could feel a certain way. That's just humanity. Satan's the god of this world. You'll probably feel great about it. Okay, is killing the best way to... No, but... Dog, nobody realizes anything unless it gets real. Look at your own life. Unless you go to hell, you will never change. Unless someone calls you fat, you're not going on a diet. You need to hit rock bottom. You need to be smacked with the fact that you're alive right now to wake up. You need that shake. It's just something we know about reality, humanity, and life.
Not for nothing, but I think the IRS has increased their firearms units too, or like protection, security detail.
Wow, I thought they didn't like guns. Isn't that funny? But so all these big YouTubers and, for lack of a better word, CEOs, Ben Shapiro, Fuentes, all these people are like, oh, it's not right. We can't be killing CEOs in public. And then I think to myself, and then everyone's hating on them. They're getting absolutely ratioed in every single comment section. And then you start to think, why? And then it dawned on me. Because you guys are CEOs. I'm not. I'm getting fucked over by CEOs. You're a CEO. Obviously, you don't want CEOs to be killed in public.
That's what I guess you hit the nail on the head, but the thing I find interesting about everyone's reactions is that you don't know who's going to react a certain way. It's not political. It's balanced across all political spectrums, whether it's a good or bad thing.
Isn't that interesting?
Because
almost as if there are no political parties. It's just the rich versus poor, as it's always been. Not race, not anything else.
But I tend to think that there is some fishiness with the whole truth behind it, because I feel like CEOs, much like politicians, are just the end of the puppet strings. And I'm not condoning violence in any way. But,
why'd you quote?
He also waved.
I'm not going to.
Cut that.
We don't condone this on Ancient Wisdom. His hand gestures mean nothing.
We do not. Anyways, but wouldn't a smart person, if Luigi really wanted to go after his enemy, wouldn't he go after who gives the orders to the CEOs? Like the hedge funds or the board of directors or something like that?
Yeah, let's stick to the theme, Evan.
He's got to get somebody, and I guess that guy represents the insurance companies better than everybody else.
We're trying to talk about Sri Bhagavad right here.
Okay.
It's just a guy with a gun in the street. He's not a genius.
That's my point.
3D printed guillotines.
Yeah. Pretty soon, coming soon to a store near you.
3D printed guillotines.
Oh my God. So I just think about this idea of holding on to the idea of self, and I think glory will fade. Women are especially sort of defensive about reputation, but I heard recently that it's kind of a survival mechanism, because if you got the scarlet letter, you're kind of screwed in society. But now it's weird. Being a slut is amazing. They love it. They love putting it out. There's that woman who is trying to sleep with 1,000 guys in a day. Did you hear about this?
I think it fully happened already, right? It's done?
She did the 100 in a day.
Oh, not the 1,000 yet?
Yeah, but now she's trying to do 1,000. Dude, I did the math. You have to... excuse me. You have to finish a sexual encounter just over every minute for 24 hours.
God.
To get 1,000. Wow. So... good luck.
Yeah, I guess.
They have to set up infrastructure for this.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Seriously, bathrooms, porta potties.
God, if there's any sort of mismanagement, you'll fail. But the wise sing my glories constantly, Sri Bhagavan says. What is singing my glories, would you say? This is God speaking. This is Krishna speaking. The wise sing my glories constantly. Where the fools are under the spell of material energy, embracing demonic and atheist beliefs. So he kind of puts those two together, right? That demon and atheistic beliefs are just as bad, but they're not even wise. He's using the word wise. Would you say staying present is a good way to sing praises, to actually be with God? You're not actually singing praises, obviously. Am I right?
I think the wise know what it takes to worship God in their daily actions.
I like it.
They don't need to go out and sing praises to anyone.
Right.
Because they know that what they are doing is aligned with maybe the path.
Yeah.
The path. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different interpretation of the wind and sun again. It's
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Oh.
If singing is like the wind.
Boom, I like it. You guys are remembering the theme today. I'm so impressed.
Yeah, and if you act like the sunshine and just do what it does gently, then you'll be with God all the time. If you're trying to force life, that you're trying to compete with God in some way.
I like it a lot. And I've also been thinking about how sort of the ancients, sometimes much like ancient aliens, they use these words that maybe we're not familiar with. They use these language. That's why reading it in the original language is very helpful. But as I've learned about language as well, especially the ancient, especially the Eastern, you're missing a whole lot of context. So you really do have to think poetically in a lot of circumstances. Singing my praise, is it actually singing? No, I think like what Poach said is exactly accurate. It's sort of being in the presence of things. If you look at even what Jesus said, he says, I'm not going to pray for you, and don't use me as prayer. And I'm like, he basically says this, but Christians kind of miss it because, in that day, you won't need me to pray for you, or whatever it is. Should have put that in here. But he's really saying what we all know, what the ancients knew, is that don't look at me. I think me and Evan, or maybe even on the show, we were talking about Thomas Aquinas. He says, don't pray to me, like just because I'm a saint. He didn't say that.
Right.
But just because I'm a holy man and I kind of get it, the human mind can be tricked into thinking, he's holy, I'm going to pray to him. Oh, that statue's holy, I'm going to pray to that. Maybe God will like me. Nah.
Wow, it's everything Jesus.
Go within.
Everything Jesus said in the Bible does come back to the same message, similar to all the stories in the Tao. It's like taking the plank out of your own eye kind of thing. It's literally don't look at anybody else. It's all about yourself.
Very true, right? If you could see it the right way. I think that's why I was so inspired to translate Mitch's version of the Tao, because I must have read 9 to 12 different translations, and I'm like, these guys are not right. You know, you read the original Chinese, and I was trying to Chinese. And you get the real spirit of what's actually going on here. They were missing it. They were missing the mark by a lot. And if you read the exact words, maybe you will miss it because you forget sort of the poetic interpretation, bring it into a new language. There's a lot of factors to it. So would you guys say that the mind itself is the realm of Satan? Because we know that Satan is the god of this world, don't we?
I have an example this week from my job where apparently a woman is out sick, like some long-term health problem, and another woman walks by all of the rest of the people who were at the office. And she says, "Oh, in case anyone's wondering, she," referring to the woman who's sick, "she's doing fine, by the way," just like that. And me and this other guy were just like, "Oh, we just thought she was on vacation or something like that." But to ourselves, and we had a talk about it. We're just like, yeah, all she was saying was just like, "You guys suck because you didn't ask about her."
Wow.
And she's not even there to care
Oh my God.
that people
Spirit
aren't
is so
wondering
deep.
about her.
Satan is powerful.
Isn't it? Dude, it was darkness, heavy darkness.
Dude, that's so funny. And Satan is so clever. I gotta give it to you, dog. My dog Satan. He's fucking clever. He's ancient, dog. He knows the text better than you. He's read it a million times. He knows.
He's ancient.
He's ancient, bro. He's been around. He's seen a million of you. You think you're going to outsmart him? The only way to outsmart him is to be present because there's no smart to be.
We are the most
Outed.
ancient. We are the most ancient thing we know of that we
Yeah.
understand intimately because we are that. That's crazy.
I feel compelled to tell the story about when I was younger and my mom got in a little fender bender. She calls me, I'm the only one at home. Mitch, I got in a car accident. I'm like, oh my God. How's the car? And she was like, she lost her shit, man.
Oh my goodness.
And I said to myself, obviously you're fine. You're on the phone with me.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I was thinking.
What could I do as this child?
Yeah, seriously. And I'm young. I'm a child. I'm like, you're on the phone with me. It's not like the cops called me. Then I'd be worried. You know, it's weird. But they need, especially the women,
Expect you to have a
they
reaction.
need you to pretend that you're caring. It's demonic. It's Satan.
Yep.
It's the idea of the world. And I thought to myself, I had this thought this week that imagination, as evidence, imagination is a form of death, is it not? Because you're not present. You're not here anymore.
Ooh, yeah, you're not in a conscious state.
There it is. You're absorbed in something else that
Most
doesn't
people that have
exist.
like anxiety or worry about the future are really just imagining things very vividly all the time.
Yes.
Like they
put.
they should focus their imagination on something else,
Yeah.
maybe a project in the present, but
Genius.
it usually flies into the future or the past, reliving events that you can't change and trying to convince yourself that you did right.
And there it is. That's our ancient talks about, modern days we call it anxiety and regret, but you could also call it the East and Western version of shame versus guilt. What you did do, I'm ashamed of. Oh, very Eastern. What you do, what you can and what you must do, guilt. Oh, I need to do. I'm being guilted in to do this thing. So future and past, shame, guilt, where does your mind lie? Maybe both. The modern mind kind of has a little bit of both, honestly, because we're not so entrenched in this religious dogma anymore. So we got the worst of both worlds in a funny way. And I think you bring up a great point too, because is imagination in itself wrong? No, this is just a word we use. Remember on Ancient Wisdom in this world that words are nothing. Words are tools. So if you get upset at words, you're already lost within Satan. So words are just something that we try our best to do. We try our best to connect and we try to have fun. So you could have an imagination. And in fact, maybe the good part of imagination is sort of fleshing out ideas like Poj was getting at, working on a project, thinking about something, a positive.
Yeah, anything besides how life is going to progress, like
Besides getting lost in the darkness of the imagination.
What's going to happen?
Yeah, what's going to happen, what has happened. Okay, but this is real. What could happen, maybe. I'll use that word.
Yeah.
That's a fun one.
it's just imagination of a spider web of different directions your life could go in that are all fake, and then you snap back into it's like water's being thrown on your face or something.
Wow, it is a death and like a rebirth, the water on the face. Wow, intense.
You forget you're really there. I've done it multiple times this weekend already.
Yeah,
5 or 6
multiple
times
a day. Yeah, most people. Maybe most people are never present, really. They're always in hell. We also talk about a lot on this show, even just waking up for the first time. The little spark, the mustard seed, Jesus called it. It's the smallest thing, but it's the biggest thing in the world. To just be awake for even 1 second. 1 second, because that could lead to being fully awake, to lead to going inward instead of being in this outward satanic mindset and world.
I learned a new word. It's almost like you're squeezing in, and Poj did that motion earlier of like squeezing on the sides, like and going forward or backwards. But it's like you're coming to this point of concrescence, of oneness to the moment. That was a Terrence McKenna word too.
Is that the word, concrescence?
Yeah, it was a Terrence McKenna word. To become more dense and like into one.
All right, so moving on. 15, though others worship me by cultivating knowledge. You remember that? That's another way to worship God, to cultivate knowledge, which is probably the proper side of the imagination, as Poj was saying. Cultivating knowledge. You could be present in knowledge, knowing what is. That's a deep way to look at it. You're not lost in the future or the past. You're knowing sort of what is, gaining knowledge. They may either think of me as one with them or separate from them. And I take this as one with them is presence, is the meditative state, or separate from them, God outside them, which he is. You know, they always say God is everywhere. He's in you and me and everywhere. Separate from them is knowledge. The knowledge outside is the God outside. The knowing of which. How much can we know? How much can we learn? Who's to say? It's easy to get lost in sort of speculation too, because we often talk on this show about there's really nothing to know. But I imagine there's a certain form of knowing that helps you get by in the world as well. You know how to build a house. I think that's much better than knowing how Evan feels about me. They're two different things. One sort of worldly, survivalistic, and the other is speculative. You have to know when you cannot know something.
Yeah, it's really painful to think about what others think about you. And me, I might think about a person for a couple seconds, and then I'm already somewhere else in the next 2 seconds, not even caring about you.
Yeah, that's a deep one. Whether it's like, I think of it in the terms of acting or something, how I used to maybe be afraid to get on camera because it's like, go now. It's like, what? But the thing I was thinking about is 5 seconds ago, but now I'm here.
Yep.
I'm in a different place. How could I pretend that I'm 5 seconds ago? There's sort of this disconnect. But I kind of think it's awesome because it is two sides of the same coin if you think about it like that. It's this sort of, ideally, maybe, it's the back and forth, it's the swing of presence and knowledge, right? You can be in the head, and maybe sort of they're two sides of the same coin. Maybe it's a swing. Maybe there's sort of it's a quantum state. You could be both at the same time, ideally, if one cultivates this sort of knowledge.
Wow.
And you go to one when you get tired of the other. When you're not meditating anymore, you go build a house.
Wow, it's like you're going back and forth between performing and evaluating what you think you're going to perform.
Oh, I like that a lot. It's deep.
So you're not really present at least half the time, I guess.
Yeah.
At least.
You know, and it's possible to be in the positive state, maybe schematics versus physical.
Because like the camera thing, when I'm on camera, I think, okay, I have to talk because that's what I'm doing. I'm talking to a camera, but I'm also like, how am I coming off as I'm talking to the camera? But I can't talk to the camera if I'm in that zone, you know?
So true. It's about like picking a state, I guess, in that sense. That's pretty cool.
Quantum states.
Quantum state, dude. Be in the right qubit. Those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly.
Oh, yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. They take birth on the planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights.
I like this one, man.
I should have spaced that one.
The planet
This one, what I'm
Indra.
talking about.
This is what I'm talking about.
Be spiritual. You know
Oh, this is my verse.
Could it be? So it sounds like you guys have heard of Soma. Am I correct?
It's an ancient drug.
Yeah, it's like an ancient psychedelic. The recipe has been lost to time.
Dang.
From ancient India. We don't exactly know what it is. Experts believe it's certain versions of
A delicious
hashish.
elixir.
Yeah, it's a
life
delicious
elixir.
exactly.
Presence elixir.
So it's kind of like the Eleusinian mysteries, if you guys have heard of this. They call it a mystery because, yet again, we don't know exactly what it is. Under penalty of death, you weren't allowed to say anything about it.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
You're trapped with your experience.
You're trapped with you're seeing God and knowledge and the light, and you're not allowed to say anything.
Talk about it.
Wow, I don't want to talk about it, dog. They're going to kill me. What a weird thing, like the worldly form of if you talk about it, I'll kill you. And then the spiritual knowledge. Kind of paradox. Plato, the guy who made the allegory of the cave, all these different... Why would he think of the cave? You know, you couldn't say, I took drugs in Eleusis. But you could say, no, we're in a cave. And you're just a shadow of yourself, but the real world is out there. Kind of makes sense now while he would make that allegory.
Eleusis sounds like such a trippy town.
Yo, doesn't it? They were tripping in Eleusis and no one knew why.
Dude, you convince me every time. It really is all art. They are all pointing back to the same thing. The allegory of the cave might as well just be not throwing pearls before swine kind of thing.
Well put, dog. Most people can't handle it. And even in ancient times, there were stigma, dogma, all these types of things. But what God is really trying to teach us is you have to be yourself. Why else would you be on this planet if not just to be a human being, to be yourself? Dog, it's been driving me crazy this last year. Maybe that's why the aliens are here. But culture is not your friend. Culture's not your friend, dude. We're so trapped in this 9 to 5 that it's killing Japanese. They're making shorter work days. Like everybody is dancing around these issues as if we don't know the answer, as if we haven't been alive for millions of years. It's the craziest thing. You're squeezing people in a bad way. You're putting them into boxes. You're putting them into school. You're killing young men. You're killing their drive, their creativity, and you're not doing what's conducive to the real environment. It's insane. And that's why the psychedelics wake you up.
Maybe that explains again how we're being pulled. We constantly go back and forth from being pushed and being pulled. We're constantly in a flux of in and out because the Japanese have to, to use a nonchalant phrase like, all right, dial it back in a little bit. You're being too crazy with your work and your careers. You have to remember how to be just a person again, a living being.
It's like we've invested so much into the structure of culture that we can't live without it now. But the ancient ways are the best ways. I heard recently that China's trying to get back to it too, but I don't think anybody ever is because China right now fucking sucks. But you know what? The world right now fucking sucks because we're living in a fake world. But ancient China sounds dope as hell. That's when they created the greatest thinkers, had the best ceremonies, came up with the tea stuff. The simple stuff, that's where the Tao came from. That's where... Confucius, that's what I was going to say.
I think it could possibly help the ancient aliens theory again because maybe we were more like our creator at the beginning every time, but we're constantly just like go astray and become self-realizing and go our own direction, always getting away from the ancient times, which were the best times.
Yeah, seriously.
And maybe that's what, if the aliens and if the demons and angels really are intervening, maybe it's in a way where they try to revert us back to how we were supposed to be too. Maybe they're trying to intervene because it's gone too far again, like a Tower of Babel or something like that.
I wouldn't be surprised if another flood comes pretty soon.
Right.
Oh my God. And a fun side note, they take birth on the planet of Indra where they enjoy godly delights. I didn't know that Indra was the god of trippiness.
Godly
or that
delights.
When you're tripping, you go to another planet. It's true. I was on another planet, man. You're on Indra's planet.
What if these other beings in the drones in the sky are trying to get us to this other paradise?
Another planet?
Yeah, wow. Maybe that is a type of judgment. Maybe that is like the transition point or something.
Yeah, I hope so. What's that?
Party planet.
Party planet, dog.
Yeah.
Indra, where you at?
But it's partying in the sense that you return to the ancient ways because that's always been the most fun thing there is.
Yo, you're so right, man. Like, how awesome would it be if, by some miracle, we had modern stuff, but lived ancient? Oh, does that not sound like heaven? Well, that's why Satan is the prince of this world. I said, because even in my own life, I gotta admit, I'm a dumb guy. I used to be a simp, but the internet has opened my eyes. Oh, the internet has opened my eyes to the truth. Like the fact that people can communicate is amazing. You know, I didn't have a lot of role models. What's that?
Internet.
I didn't have a lot of internet back then. And so it is great depending on how you use these things, of course.
Yeah, it's become a part of us instead of just a tool kind of thing. It's an extension of our ego with social media.
Yeah, and you got these assholes that say, well, you know, if there wasn't a business, how would they ever have made the internet? Or what would be the desire to make it? And I think things would be made, but it would just take a lot longer because you're not working a 40-hour work week, 50, 60-hour work week. You get it done because you still want to do stuff. The other half of God, whoa, right now we're 100% in hell. But if we're 50% present and 50% in the knowledge of the world, I think we would get there, but just in half the time. Whoa, deep, guys. I think people would want to do it because they'd get bored of being meditative and doing tea ceremonies all the time. They're like, let me just tinker. Let me just do it a little bit. And some guys help out, and they just do these things naturally.
It seems inevitable to get to this point every time because, and I'm not against capitalism, but just like the idea of capitalism desires more and more things and more output and just numbers on a screen.
Yeah.
So then you introduce travel so you can go farther to increase the numbers on your screen. Like all these things kind of have their own factor there. Like if we didn't have to travel so far, there would be fewer problems too because we wouldn't be concerned with things way out there. It would be easier to live ancient if we're just right here in this environment.
Yeah, true. And I think that's a constant conflation as well. The fact that it always has to be, what are you against capitalism, Mitch? You don't like working hard? But I don't think it has anything to do with the Fox News versus CNN. You know, we could live in a capitalist society, but I think culture is the real enemy, right? You could be making money, but why do you value money so much? Why do you value power so much?
It's because everyone else does.
Because everyone else does, yeah. So, you know, that's what we call culture. You want it because everybody else wants it. And of course, it really, as we know from the show, it comes down to the relation between the sexes, right? Like it's known because of the internet now that women want cars and money. Girls don't like boys. Yeah, they want stuff. They want a man who's not only large, but they want it powerful. Powerful. He needs to run shit. He needs to be wanted by everybody, and that's the one that I want. You don't care why he's wanted. He could be Luigi, for Christ's sake. You could be a murderer.
On death row.
But he's famous. I just don't want to fuck him. Dude, it's crazy, but that's the culture mind of the feminine. Obviously, there's women who are not diseased of the mind, but that's the massive because Satan is the prince of this world. So that seems to be the mass. You know, most dudes will kill you. They want to get money. They want to get power, probably because the demonic women want that to happen as well. But there are peace, and culture doesn't value peace. So therefore, there's a lot less going towards it. There's this weird demon called culture. It's strange.
And again, the wind and the sun example. Yeah, other men are trying to kill you. I know you're speaking metaphorically, but like it's another way to kill you by pretending like you're not trying to kill you.
Oh, deep,
kind of thing.
man.
That's the sun way. You know, it's like I'm not trying to kill you. That's the game that you chose to play.
Whoa.
But you're still trying to do the same thing.
I like it. When they exhaust their piety, they return to the planet of the mortals. So when you stop tripping, you have to come back.
Back to
this
Earth.
guy is saying, everybody's got to come down sometime.
Phone home.
Shit. And it makes me think about recently I heard this Graham Hancock interview. My man. That's a guy who thinks outside the box, you know? I like the dudes. I'm just asking questions, man. A lot of people don't like that, like Ben Shapiro again. But Graham Hancock was talking about, and I really like this. I didn't think about it. If you want to hold any type of public office, what do you guys think? You have to at least take 10 ayahuasca trips.
Whoa.
But then he says most people who take the 10 ayahuasca trips won't want to hold public office. Boom! And that's kind of the point.
Wow. What was it? Philosopher
And those who
Kings.
do, the philosopher kings.
Philosopher
Oh,
kings.
see, there's Socrates. And those who do, get through the experiences and become a politician, you know they're there for the right reason. You know that they'll care for the people. You know, I'd say even you have to do it once a year going on after that. Or just like term limits is great. Fucking Nancy Pelosi, all these people been in there for eternity. That's not right, dude. That's insane. They need to have limits.
And I'd say a good proof of that, like if they're, whether it's 10 ayahuasca trips, or I'd say they have to at least admit that they don't have everyone's best interest at heart inherently, just being a person.
Yeah, dude, like let's cut the bullshit. I think the fake Christians and the fake better than thou might even be worse than the demonic people. I saw this one guy, I won't say a name, on X who was like, oh, Nancy Pelosi's in the hospital. I'm praying for her recovery.
Oh.
And I'm like, no, you're not. You ain't praying for, dude. You try. That's what makes us different from the left. Is that we don't go around killing CEOs. I actually genuinely pray for. I'm like, no, you don't.
You could hear that tone. Imagine yourself typing, I am praying.
I'm praying for. I'm better than all you.
Lord, please protect all CEOs.
Yeah, please protect CEOs. I'm like, you.
Others are gonna see this and think I'm good.
Bitch. That's what makes us better than the animals on the left. Yeah, fuck out of here, dude. Dude. That's how I think about. Dude, politics is such a sham now. When you really see it, it's just like, you know, the right trying to own the left.
You're right about X in general, though, because lately X has kind of just been giving me a sick, bitter taste in my mouth, because it's like, oh, the bastion of free speech, but there are so many anonymous accounts that are the most like vile, cruel, like disgusting people in the world.
Yeah,
maybe in that passive aggressive way too, but also in the overt, like, like every cuss word in the book, just like ripping you apart for meaningless things.
But you know what, that is real humanity. Maybe
true.
You could say there's a lot of fake accounts, and I'm sure there are. But I think that's the reality of humanity. And I love free speech because the truth is revealed. Maybe it's not even great, you know, the future will tell, having X.com. But just having been lied to so much in my life, everything has been a lie. Everything. Look within your own life. Everything's been a lie if you listen to culture. That's the reality of humans. There's no cap within that. People are disgusting and crass and stupid. Okay, there's gonna be those people. That's who they are. Do you want them to lie? I think that's my big point about all this. I feel like people want people to lie. By wanting people to lie, we put them in another box, and we pretend our own life is peaceful and happy. And no, humanity is good. No, like, the truth is the truth. Shouldn't it make you feel better?
People don't want the truth, Mitch.
They really don't, and it's the sad reality. Like, there's a CEO walking around in New York City who's the head of this demonic organization, and the fact that he feels safe is kind of surprising. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but It's super surprising that you're not walking around with security. You're one of the biggest piece of shits out here, dude. Yeah, you should be hated.
You must not realize how hated you are. You must have been in that bubble for so long that you actually have convinced yourself to think you're doing a decent thing, and your position matters, making $350 million a year.
Yeah. You know? Oh my God, so true. Just like how you get to this, like, yeah, you know, maybe you're on these sites too much. I'm making money. I'm a success. Everybody wants to be me. What about everybody else who hates you?
Yeah.
You took their money. It's kind of insane. One who worships the demigods is in fact worshiping me, though indirectly and incorrectly. Now, this is tough, because what could this be? What do you guys think? Because we don't really have demigods in the West. This is a very Eastern concept.
You know what? I think we do have demigods. Patron saints.
I like it.
I lost my keys. I got to pray to St. Anthony.
Damn!
Yeah.
Whoa, that's so funny, because I've never been a saint guy.
My grandma was.
Oh,
she had a saint for everything.
Is it more of a Catholic thing or just Christian in general? Do you know?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I've never really been a saint guy. No one ever said pray to Saint.
Lucius.
Jehoshaphat's, yeah, Lucius for your, because you can't sleep.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
I'm finding it strange now. I feel like it's much easier if it wasn't hierarchical like that and everyone's got their own responsibility like a business or a company. Like St. Francis, if you lose a pet because he's the saint.
Is that what it is?
Well, no, I don't know if that's
Lost
it, but
pet
he was like the animal guy, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what Francis was.
I like that a lot, and that points to me to these inherent human qualities where we kind of want a pantheon.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you feel that way sometimes?
It's a party.
Yeah, it's a party, dog. Who didn't watch Hercules as a kid and wanted to be up there on Mount Olympus?
I think we also, our minds are basically made to like keep track of the drama, keep track of like interactions between people. So we like project it into the spirits. It's like this spirit told this spirit, and he was like, nuh-uh.
Almost sounds feminine, but I vibe with it too, actually. Just like a little bit of drama. You know, this force, it feels more realistic that this force is at odds with this force. You know, the ocean is at odds with the land. You know, they can never agree.
That Poseidon.
Yeah, that Poseidon did.
And what if angels and demigods have really just experienced more life in the physical realm than we have, so they just have attained more enlightenment and are wiser? But
Yeah,
there
makes
still is a
sense.
hierarchy. Like, you still have to answer to God. Like, they're not gods. They're very wise spirits, I guess.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's like, do you guys feel that as well, though? That like, even though we're supposed to be in the West, the entire West is supposed to be monotheistic in the three Abrahamics. We're supposed to be monotheistic, but then we end up having saints that we pray to? When Jesus himself told us don't even pray to Jesus?
He's busy.
He's busy. He's got some stuff going on. He's like, I won't pray for you, so don't pray to me.
I
That's what
remember
he
it
says.
being explained to me that, you know, the saints will bring the prayers
Is that what
to
it
the
is?
right place.
Wow. God's busy, so you give it to a lesser
You give
dude.
it to the-
God delegates.
Give it to the, you know,
And
I want to know
hunger department.
where that comes from. Yeah, seriously. I'll take this to the hunger department. But that, I think we just made that up, though. That's not in the Bible anywhere. In fact, I think that the angels say, don't pray to me either. That was in the Bible. Hey, don't pray to me, pray to God. Even Jesus said, don't pray to me, pray to God.
and I don't think... sometimes it's hard to even know whether or not angels exist. You'll never know, but like... God expects us to have the wisdom to tell the difference, and that's hard to do from our point of view, in my opinion. Like,
What's that?
Like, because if I see an angel, I'm gonna think that is probably God because it's probably invokes so much fear in me and awe and mystery.
Yes.
But even then, God expects us to not see that as God, but realize that He answers to someone too.
Oh, so that's cool. I like it. Wow, Evan's getting back to the main point here, which is that they're worshiping me, though indirectly and incorrectly. That's super cool. Those who worship the demigods, let's call it saints in this one because I like that, will take birth among the demigods.
Yes. Sorry, I was just gonna say that's what the Pleiadians believe. They're like UFO believers and that kind of thing. That some extra intergalactic like federation.
Wow.
They think Jesus was a Pleiadian and he came, and they're all a race of people that are just like, bro, stop worshiping me. It's not us. We're just like a higher life force than you.
I feel that sometimes you come down to sort of give the message, but you know, naturally they never understand.
Yeah.
And you're like, why did I even
They're
bother?
just
Every
every time.
I'll come back in 3 days. Y'all bitches still won't believe. So whatever. And then it goes on. Those who worship ghosts and spirits take birth among such beings. Like you are what you get kind of thing. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. And those who worship me will live with me. So he's kind of separating.
You see what you want.
I like it. Expand, right? We go. It's like you see what you want. You are what you be. It is what it do.
Believe
you know what, I'm saying?
what you desire to be in.
There it is. Folks got it. He's got it. Be what you is.
Be what you.
Why do I
is.
tie that to death though? I feel like that's a realization you might have at death.
Well, they're saying sort of like those who worship you die, they take birth, but maybe it is more metaphysical, more poetic.
Because those stories people talk about right before death are crazy. Some people have life reviews, and you like you're in the state
3 stars.
that you feel like based on how many people you betrayed or did loving things to.
That's a good point, right? And what I take from this is that this is sort of perhaps the same thing as an intention in a spiritual trip. You guys ever hear that? Don't take soma, don't take eleusis, don't take ayahuasca unless you have an intention.
Right.
It's so powerful. They've talked about it since ancient times, and it does guide you. You need to have something that you want to attain or learn from it, and it needs to be positive. So that you will receive that. If you go into it, I'm just gonna fucking trip on drugs, dog, you end up going insane because you're nobody, you're nothing. So I came up with the phrase, the way we worship is also who we are and who we will be.
Wow, you just kind of blew my mind. Because I think the people who might say, oh, you just take psychedelics because you like to be high or something like that, but they don't realize possibly the person taking them is actually more interested in improving themselves, so that they could be a better partaker in the world.
And that's psychology 101. Those who accuse, you're probably just taking it because you want to escape. You like drugs. Now, who are you talking about? The finger should be pointed here.
Yeah, what is the you you're talking about? I'm not.
You probably want to do it. It's you. You're talking from your own perspective.
It's all about
that's
intention.
what you really need to learn from ancient wisdom, from life, and about people. It's like people talk about themselves.
Wow.
Their accusatory is their hatred toward themselves, how they feel about themselves. I wouldn't take those drugs because you just want to escape. Huh? What did you just really say there? You wouldn't take those drugs. If you did take those drugs, you'd be doing it to escape because you hate.
So tell me, what are you not escaping from? You could ask the question that way too. You ask it back. What is it that you're not escaping from?
And I like to see it as sort of, what presence are we in? Are we in God's presence, the ghosts, the ancestors, the spirits? And who do we listen to? What is the voice that we listen to? Which could also come back to my ancient phrase, which might have even been inspired by Poe, just what do you value?
Yep.
That's a huge ancient wisdom phrase to keep in mind. We should have a sign up here. What do you value? Because it is. Do you value paper dollars? Do you value cryptocurrency? Okay, that's what gives it value. The fact that everyone values it. Value is very interesting. Why do you want to be CEO? Because everyone says CEOs are cool. Everyone else values it, so therefore it has value. But what about if it's just to yourself? Does that mean it has no value? What if you said fuck everybody else and did what you like? Does that mean it's valueless? Value is a very strange...
Wow.
What are your values? It's a very strange concept.
And valuable doesn't always mean good either, because the fact that everyone has different values make valuable things more unexpected. What is valuable kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because the whole that girl who had sex with 100 or 1,000 guys, or is planning to have with 1,000 guys, the fact that everyone's talking about it in a way, I think, is what she wants. And people who are hating on it don't realize that they enjoy hating on it. Otherwise, they would just like totally drop it and never talk about it again. Because I'm thinking, all right, well, I'm never going to meet this girl. If I did know her, there might be some temptation, but just like it should be out of my mind. I should not know about it. That's one of those things with the internet. It should never even be on your mind at all. It doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, true. Good point. And I like to think that sort of this word that we use, value, is sort of tied to culture. It is value. That word is the currency of culture. Isn't that deep? Not dollars, not crypto, not anything, but value, the word we use, is the currency of culture. Think about that. It's not your own currency. You could value your own things, but maybe you'd use a different word for that.
Wow. So also it's like whatever you dedicate your time to, because that's like a currency. Your time here is limited.
Right.
And currency is limited.
Yeah. And you usually want things to show off to other people.
Right.
Think about that. Why do you want stuff? If it's to show off to other people, you don't even want it. Because that's not you. Everything that you get will be fake. It'll be hollow. Oh, I want a boat. Why? You don't like boats. I don't know. People think I'm cool. Then you don't want a boat.
Well, you know what's funny? And I've thought about that way with girlfriends, too. I'm just like, oh, I'd like to show other people how hot she is.
Yeah.
Whereas I should be asking if I actually like her myself.
Yeah, that's a big one. It could be sort of one of those deep concealed thoughts. It's true. And then we go on. I accept an offering of merely a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water if it is offered with love and devotion. Damn. Right. Does that not tie into our discussion of value right there? What do you value? God is saying he values a leaf. He'll take an offering of a leaf. You don't need to burn a lamb. You don't need to give $1 million to your church. He'll say he takes a flower, a fruit, a little bit of water.
He said devotion. That was the word.
If it's offered with love and devotion.
And how is that? How do you tell the difference?
Yeah, how do you feel about that? What is the difference?
I'd say it's trying. When you say devotion, I tend to think it's all about the intention again.
I like it.
Could be synonymous with intention.
I remember Pode said the other week that you just have to mean it. Right, Pode? You said you could do all these things, but do you really mean it?
This reminds me of the story of the poinsettias.
Dang, what's that?
The poinsettias, the red Christmas flower. I forget what the story or the
This reminds me of a story. I don't know the story.
No, I forget
but
where
it's a flower
from.
of Christmas.
I forget where it's from.
Something.
Is what I meant to say. I forget where it's
Oh,
from.
okay.
But the woman offers the flower because she has nothing else to offer.
Yeah.
That's basically the story.
Yeah. Same thing with the Bible. You know, the woman offers her last 2 pennies or something. And she gave more than the rich man. You remember that one?
That's the story. I think the same story, but with flowers.
Okay, we use flowers in this family. We use flowers.
Yeah, it must be not having the end result in mind, too. I think that's always another piece to it, another factor.
Yeah.
Not giving so that you look good. You give because you desperately just wanted this person to have this.
Yeah.
You needed it to happen. There wasn't a pretense like I'm going to do it so that this happens, so other people see me give.
Yeah, right. It's not a cause and effect. It is the moment. Love and devotion is being in that present moment. You know when you mean it because it doesn't have value. That's why you know when you mean it, because it's between you and God. It has nothing to do with culture. It has nothing to do with value. The leaf doesn't have value to the world, and that's why it even says it, because these things have no value to the world. What it does have value to is between you and God, to you, to the moment. It's a symbol of the moment that brings you inward into that presence of God, because this is God, and the fact that you see God within that which has no value, is the purest of all.
Is the most valuable.
Damn. Everything that you do, everything that you give, everything that you perform, do it as an offering to me. And there's kind of the answer of why you give a leaf. Because everything is me. Do everything for me. Even if it is a leaf, even if you're drinking coffee in the morning, even if you're walking to work, do it as an offering to me. And that's sort of a poetic way to stay present. Right?
Oh, because a pretense is always out of the moment. You're always in the future.
Exactly. The pretense is out of the moment. If it's not pure, if it's not actually for me.
Should be spontaneous. That's why people get so frustrated when they feel you're gifting them something out of obligation, because it's routine. You know where it's coming. You've seen this before. It's not full of love in the moment.
That's right.
Because the spontaneous is gift, just like, oh, I just got this, but I want you to have it, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
not
right.
like I'm gonna get this because I do it once a month. And I want a little something in return.
I was thinking recently, too, about how boomers really have been tricked by Hallmark. and how they really love holidays. You know, I won't name anyone in particular. But I talk to boomers that are like, oh, you know, it's Christmas, it's Father's Day, it's Thanksgiving, it's this. I'm like,
you have to do
that's
this.
Nothing. Yeah, you have to do this. Where's my gift? Or like, you
have
know,
to be
this?
with me. You can't be alone on Christmas.
Yeah.
AKA, you can't not see me on Christmas because I don't want to be alone.
There it is. And you're like, dog, you are nobody. Like, it's just a day, but Hallmark told you that it's important. Therefore, you believe them. It's kind of sad. Like, what about any other day?
Someone took a picture of me.
Yeah.
And sent me a Christmas card saying Merry Christmas, and they included the picture of me by myself.
That's weird. They should send pictures of their family, not you.
I'm not even understanding that. That's like,
so I threw the picture in the garbage.
Damn.
Like within the first 2 minutes.
Because I love you.
Yeah, so I was just like, if I have this,
that's really
people
strange.
are going to think it's weird that I have it.
People send pictures of like themselves and their dog.
And us wishing you a Merry Christmas.
You sent a picture.
You wishing you.
You're the subject of this
Christmas,
letter.
I guess. So, which makes me think about the guilt versus the shame thing again, and I came up with this really fun chart. This is original Mitch Ancient Wisdom exclusive here. Sort of the East, let me know what you guys think, is that the East is gentle until punishment comes, until I need to punish you, but the West is punishment until gentle. Isn't that interesting? So gentle until punishment is shame, but the West is punishment until gentle, which is guilt. So it's funny that in the West we have innocent until proven guilty, because that's not the concept of guilt. Guilt is punishment until you do the right thing, then I'll be gentle with you.
Wow, I heard another similar East and West difference, that the East is, they are very wise and into the concept of time, and the West took this other route of being really into the concept of energy, like forcefulness and like going with the flow kind of dynamic, like combustion engine and like progress and like working towards something, with an iron fist, and the other is just like observing the patterns and things in the passage of time, at least the philosophical
that's
origins.
Pretty cool. I could see the underlying underpinnings of that.
Yeah.
And I just thought about keeping God in mind, even if it's not sort of how we see meditation. It is, again, the word meditation, everybody uses meditation, yoga, is it stretching, blah, blah, blah. No, keeping God in mind is the form of meditation. Feeling God, feeling the steps under your feet as you take them. That is a form of meditation, is the presence. But we just sort of use this word, but everyone just sees it as, no. That's a meditation. But please, if you learn anything from ancient wisdom, is don't get lost in words. Do not get lost in words. They're just tools. There's no meaning to words. Just try your best sort of to understand in your own poetry. And the big finish here, of course, is I am impartial. This is why. God is impartial. I like or dislike no one. This is why words have no meaning, because he's impartial. There's no meaning behind it. Even a sinner can be considered saintly because he worships me, because he is on the right path. The path itself. What is the path? Where you are now. Presence. The being is the path. To know that I am here. To know that I am with God. That is the path, and that's why a sinner can be saintly. Is he a saint? No, he's not a saint. He's saintly, because a saint would have this judgment about it, and that would make words be real, and that's not the case.
Yeah, the minute a saint says he's a saint is when he's not a saint, is what you're saying.
I could see that. Yeah, absolutely. Because you're stepping off the path already. Why do you need to say it? I mean, you could say it, but it's sort of an indication that it's not true.
Why do you want to be a saint?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
To appear
all
like a saint?
Can come up. Sort of like, as I've been saying recently, a good way to see it is that the path itself is the divine thing. This is why words have no meaning. You guys understand this? The path itself is the divine thing. It's not giving to charity, because you could give to charity in a negative way. The Gospel of St. Thomas, the Gnostic text, which I think sometimes are even better than the Bible, says don't give to charity, says don't pray. And that's kind of closer to, it's its own poem. Thomas was onto something. I vibe with Thomas, dude. He was onto something in his own poetic way. He's saying that the path, don't just do something because I told you to do it. The path, being on the path, is the divine way. And even if you're a sinner, you could be saintly. Christian.
Can I tell my funny story about that, about giving really quick?
Go for it.
So a homeless person came up to my car And I've decided that I wanted to be more forceful and truthful to myself about saying no to giving money. Not that I don't have money, but that no, I'm not giving you money kind of thing.
Yeah.
I purposely made it a point to not do that. And then it turned out I actually happened to have something spontaneous in the moment that I did not care about, like I did money. And the guy needed gloves because it was very cold out. It was like it was freezing temperature, and he needed gloves. And I just had like an old ratty pair in the back. Not ratty, but good enough.
Yep.
And I just gave it to him because I have others at home that I wouldn't have lost them.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dang,
and he was
something
actually
you
more
actually
appreciative
needed.
of that. It wasn't like the story where you give a homeless person food and they just throw it away, kind of thing. It was actually something I identified a need with after being honest with myself first.
And there it is. And I think that's why you were honest with yourself, so that your spirit was prepared to actually give this man value.
Yeah.
I think that's super deep. Man, hot take.
It was fun.
Let's get a little East with it, because we have a fiending for the East right now with some Tao dishing. Mitch translates the Tao, chapter 50. Out of birth and into death. Out of 10, 3 will be attached to life. 3 will be attached to death. And 3 will simply drift toward death. Why is this? Because they put too much stock into living. But you may have heard of the one who can properly manage the realm of the living. One who can safely traverse the land of tigers and rhinos. In battle, not harmed by any weapon. For the rhino finds no place to thrust his horn. The tiger finds no place to swipe his claw. And the soldier finds no place to strike his weapon. How is this? Because he is beyond the place of death. Wow.
He has no body to die.
He has no body to die. He is no one. There's that Ram Dass documentary after he died, Becoming No One. Trying to be all spiritual.
He released it after he died.
Well, it wasn't him, but that would have
been funny. He was just playing.
It was me. That's my friend all along, my friend.
So again, the wind and the sun, man. It's like the exertion is the point. The wind is too much exertion. Fighting with your weapons. Just knowing that you have your weapons makes you know that you don't need them.
Yeah, that's a big one. But
I find trouble with this one because the whole, like, he has no place to be stabbed, he has no place to be struck, he has no place to... It's like, you already died? How can you not die?
Yeah, so I mean, that's
because I get like concepts. Sorry, I get concepts like where like, okay, I'm gonna mentally think I'm gonna be in a different place, but there's a sword coming at you. You know, like you can't kind of like just meditate the sword away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very deep, right? You know, maybe in that sense it's metaphorical, but we'll find out. You know, because they say one of the ancient phrases is "die before you die." That's another ancient phrase. Sort of saying, hey, you'll be ready for death. Also, you could truly experience life, because if you die now, there's nothing about this life to cling to. Therefore, you could live more purely. But let's start at the top to see if we could sort of examine these riddles. Out of birth and into death. Boom, there it is. Maybe that's saying right now, as I just explained. Maybe out of birth, maybe that happens every moment. Or perhaps they're explaining the entire life cycle. Maybe it makes no difference in the Taoist tradition, frankly.
Yeah, or maybe birth implies death, too. That was another...
I like that. Yeah. Birth implies death. So there's a lot of shitty translations with this, but I think I did a fine job. In fact, flawless one. Out of 10 people, 3 will be attached to life, 3 will be attached to death, and 3 will simply drift toward death. So that's 9 out of 10. And then later we'll talk about the 1, obviously. But attached to life, pretty self-explanatory, right? Pretty easy. There's people who just cling to life in every way, but they never live. Those who cling to life most seem to hate life the most, I've noticed in my personal life.
Wow.
3 attached to life, 3 attached to death, 3, simply drift toward death. And there's those who don't care about either. They just float through, all willing. Does this not feel real in your own life?
Yeah, there's always people that just kind of chilling.
Just kind of chilling. They don't care about God. They don't care about nothing.
And I'm amazed by them more than people that win gold medals.
There it is.
I'm like, really? Nothing?
There it is. Nothing. I don't know, dog. Whatever. But there's one who knows how to traverse the land, who's not harmed by any weapon. No tiger can thrust his horn, blah, blah, blah. How is this possible? He's beyond the place of death.
He kind of knows the intent of what's to come. He knows the end of the path because he's accepted the path.
I like that a lot. Yes.
So whatever happens, he knows it's part of the path and it's fine.
That's super cool, right? Because it really is as if you're not attached to life, one can say there's no life. It just is, which is what we try to get to in the spiritual realm. Therefore, logically, death does not exist either, so how could you die? And perhaps life is actually just the man who was acted upon by the elements in the sun and the wind. Will you be forced to take off your jacket when you don't want to? Or will you take it off at the proper time when it feels right, having influenced the world and did what you needed to do? Hopefully you can make that decision when the time comes. And guys, this has been episode 69 of Ancient Wisdom. Hope you enjoyed it. Catch ya next time.
You are centered.